Hello, everyone, and welcome to Murfreesboro Storytellers. And our subject today is Alzheimer's, the Alzheimer's Association, and the walk to end Alzheimer's, which is coming up. We're pleased to have as our guest Dina O'Neill, sponsorship chair for the walk to end Alzheimer's. Dina, welcome.
Thank you.
Emily Pegg, who is chairperson for the walk to end Alzheimer's. Emily, welcome.
Thank you.
And we welcome Chris West, Vice President for Human Resources at National Health Corporation and lead for their national walk team. Chris, welcome also.
Thank you, John. Good to be here.
Well, folks, Alzheimer's is continues to be a scourge to human mankind, I think, and we continue to do everything we can to end Alzheimer's. And you have one big event coming up that's mentioned, first of all, Dina, that will be taking place, I believe, in November.
Yes, on November 6th, the Rutherford County Walk to End Alzheimer's will be held. They'll have it at Gateway Island. And it's a great way for everybody to get together, show support for each other, and for us all to come together and raise money for the Alzheimer's Association that does such great work in supplying resources and money for research towards a cure.
Good. We're looking forward to it. I know you always have a large number of people to participate.
We do. In the past, we've had a large number participate. This year, of course, we're being very aware of public health concerns. And so people can walk virtually through an app they can download to their phone.
Oh, wonderful.
Or they can come out to Gateway Island and join us the morning of the walk.
Okay, very good. And Emily, you being chairperson for the walk to end Alzheimer's, I'm sure there's a lot of work that goes into it before the day of the walk.
There is a lot of work that goes toward it. We have a full committee. We've been meeting for a year, really since the last walk ended. We've been meeting to plan this, and we're really excited about it.
And to be able to participate, as Dina said, you can do it, I believe, online, or you can be there in person.
That's right. We have a virtual option and an in-person option this year. There have been improvements to the app that we used last year. It was all virtual last year. So we're excited to have the opportunity for those who feel comfortable to get together in person at Gateway Island.
What do you typically raise in the walk each year? Hard to say.
It's been different the last 2 years due to COVID. But our goal, I believe, is 300,000 this year. Is that correct, Dina?
I believe so.
Chris, I know National Health Corporation has always been at the forefront of this each year and all year. Tell us about your role.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to be on the Tennessee board of the Alzheimer's Association, but NHC's always been a big proponent, especially over the last 10 years of the Alzheimer's Association and what it tries to do. And its goals are so important. And of course, we have patients throughout our system who are victims to the disease. So we have a bit of a passion for it. But over the last 10 years, NHC's raised over $2 million for the cause. So it's very important to us. And we have our partners, that's what we call our employees, throughout the company that participate in it. And I know, just like Emily said before, over the last couple of years, you know, our typical fundraising efforts and celebrations that we have for the Walk to End Alzheimer's been disrupted by COVID, but hey, we're continuing to persevere, and we're looking forward to doing it again this year and on the walk on November 6th.
And I can see how national health will be so very much at the forefront due to the business and profession that you folks are in.
Yes, absolutely. It means a lot to us, and we care for, you know, those patients on an ongoing basis. So it's a real passion, and it's a real heartfelt thing for us to participate in.
We keep talking about the walk to end Alzheimer's. Do you think that'll ever happen? Hard to know.
Yes, I do. You know, they're really pouring millions of dollars into research and partnerships into research. to look for not only a treatment, but a cure for Alzheimer's.
Right.
And, every day they get closer. We just have to keep up the fight and keep raising money so that we can continue to fight for it.
What news or what results are we hearing from those who are working on eliminating and ending Alzheimer's? What progress are they making?
This
Well,
year,
Go ahead.
this year we've had a drug introduced on the market that will slow the progress of the disease. It's not a cure, but it's definitely a tool to keep people functioning in a normal manner for a longer period of time.
I can see how delaying could be very important because it is a gradually increasing disease, as I understand Alzheimer's.
Yes.
That's correct.
And there are medications that are being developed.
They do have medications that are in clinical trials. The one medication Emily referenced has been approved by the FDA. And that was huge. That was just such a huge step. And the first step to a continued, progress, hopefully, into more assistance for those who are fighting this disease.
The Alzheimer's Association has an app for people who are interested in keeping up with what is happening in finding a cure. It's called Science Hub, and that would give them all the latest news of what's happening in the fight for a cure.
Give us the name of that app again, Emily.
It's called Science Hub, HUB.
Okay. All right, very good. Let's say there's a family out here who is seeing a family member gradually getting into the Alzheimer's picture, if you will. What is the first thing they should do? Anybody?
I would say talk with your physician, make an appointment for a physical. When I talk to our family doctor, because I have family members with the disease, and I said, what should I be doing? And the first thing my doctor said was, keep up with those physicals, those yearly physicals. You want to rule out any other complications, diseases. Maybe what you're seeing is really a side effect of a medication you're already on. It could be a number of things, but that physical would probably be the best first step.
So keep up with that annual physical.
Yes.
I think it's also important for the person who's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's to go ahead and set up a medical power of attorney if they don't already have that. It would be really helpful to take a family member with them when they go to doctor appointments. Sometimes the patient doesn't always remember or process everything the doctor's saying. So it would be helpful to have someone there who could record what's being said or could accurately report to other family members what the doctor is saying. So that medical power of attorney, I think, would be very important.
Where will the walk actually take place? Where will it begin from in Murfreesboro?
We're moving this year. We will be at Gateway Island. Due to COVID restrictions, we weren't able to have it at the MTSU campus where we typically do. So we'll be having it at Gateway Island, which is part of the Greenway system in Murfreesboro.
We actually held the event there several years ago, and it's a great venue, and it ought to be a real fun celebration for a good cause, but it's a great location.
I know you've also done it from the National Health Headquarters downtown as well. It started there.
And we're very pleased to say, that was in our earlier years. We outgrew that very quickly, which is a great thing. So, having it at MTSU the last few years is real indicative of the growth of the walk.
Chris, how many states does NHC operate in?
We operate in 11 states. Our biggest state as far as presence is Tennessee, followed by South Carolina and Missouri. And we do have a presence in some other states, including 2 states in New England, Massachusetts and New Hampshire.
And I assume the staff at those locations are organizing similar efforts to end Alzheimer's.
Yeah, they're doing the best they can considering the COVID challenges that we have. But what we encourage our local centers and employers to do is to participate in their local walked-in Alzheimer's. So, and they do fundraising events throughout the year to just sort of promote what the association does, and of course to give to the association. So, we're looking forward to getting COVID behind us so we can really continue those celebrations that we've always done. And we're looking forward to that day. And I can't say enough, of this year being able to have the option of having the in-person walk out at Gateway on November 6th. It's going to be great to see everyone again in the Alzheimer's community there. We're really looking forward to that.
All of the volunteers will either be vaccinated or have a negative COVID test within, I think it's 72 hours of the event, and will be masked so that we can protect those who do choose to come on out that day and participate.
Will there be any restrictions or limitations on the participants? Should they be masked?
It's up to each person,
Sure.
of course. All of our volunteers will be masked,
Right.
because that's what we've been asked to do for just best practices. So, if people choose to do that, that would be wonderful. But it will not be mandatory.
Anything
The walk
unusual that this year that's different from years past, other than the COVID, other than the pandemic?
It's going to be very similar to past walks. We're going to have a very brief ceremony in the beginning, and I believe it's at 8:30. Is that correct, Emily?
That's correct.
Okay, so the opening ceremony will be at 8:30, and we're going to make it very festive out there and hopeful. That's the thing. We want it to be a really hopeful event.
Sure.
We hope for a cure. We hope for a treatment to come about. We hope that we can support each other as all of us go through it in different ways, either as a caregiver, a family member, or a person diagnosed with the disease. And it's a real family event. Families come out and you see anything from a baby in a stroller to an older person being pushed in their chair. And everybody's having a great time when they do it.
What is the length of the walk typically?
Typically, it's around 2 miles.
Okay, that'd be the same for this year, I presume.
That's what they shoot for, yes, when they plan the route.
The great
Any
thing
unusual
about
stuff?
Gateway
I'm sorry,
Island.
go ahead, Emily.
The great thing about Gateway Island is that there are 2 loops on that track. And
True.
so when we walk around the first loop, if someone's tired and they can't make loop number 2, then they can just stop and hang out at the start area or see some of the vendors that are there. So that's a nice part about Gateway Island as compared to MTSU. When you were on that course, you didn't have any choice but to go the full distance. But at Gateway Island, one could stop early if they needed to.
That's a good aspect of it. I hadn't thought about that.
Mhm.
Emily, what is your profession?
What is my profession? I work at 10 Star Fire Protection. I work in the fire safety industry.
Okay. So how did you get interested in the Alzheimer's Association?
Well, my mother had Alzheimer's, and before that, her mother had it. So
Okay.
that was my first experience, was my maternal grandmother. But my mother was diagnosed, and about a year after she was diagnosed, I had a friend that was on the walk committee here in Rutherford County, and she invited me to the walk. So that's how I became involved with the Alzheimer's Association.
Which is probably the story of so many people that are involved in working on this, right?
Yes, most everyone has had a loved one who has currently Alzheimer's or had it in the past, or they work in the healthcare industry. Most people in the committee, that's their connection, one of those 2 ways, and sometimes both.
Right. One of the things that we, when we kicked off our fundraising efforts here at the home office in Murfreesboro this year. Emily, and she did it last year too. Emily was kind enough to provide just a personal testimonial of her challenges and her family challenges with Alzheimer's. And it was a very powerful statement that she made to our folks. And it encourages and inspires folks to participate. So we really appreciate her doing that.
Those stories, those experiences certainly are used to encourage all the rest of us to be involved, whether we have any personal connection or not, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I know that when I go somewhere and talk with a group, it's very common for me to ask the group, okay, raise your hand if you have someone or have lost someone to Alzheimer's, and people will raise their hands and everyone's surprised because they don't realize that maybe the person next to them was going through that with their family. It's not really openly talked about still. It's still kind of a bit of a quiet topic.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just trying to open that conversation and get people talking, because people don't realize that over 6 million Americans are diagnosed with Alzheimer's right now.
Give me that number again.
Over 6 million people in America are diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Amazing. And I'm sure it's something a lot of people know about, hear about, think about. I don't think about it being that close to them.
That's true. I mean, in Tennessee alone in 2020, we had about 120,000 people diagnosed with the disease. And they predict that by just 2025, in just 5 years, it'll grow to 140,000 people, which is an over 16% growth in number of people diagnosed.
So it continues to flourish, if I may use that word, apparently, wherever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it does.
It does. And, it's not just the person diagnosed who's impacted, it's the family too.
Sure.
Many times a family member is a caregiver in the beginning, in the early stages, and it puts a tremendous strain on the families. And so all of us on the committee hope that people know that if someone out there has a loved one who's recently been diagnosed or been diagnosed and you don't know what to do, there are resources out there. The Alzheimer's Association offers a 1-800 hotline. It's available 24/7, and it's staffed by master's level clinicians. And so anybody can call with a question. They don't know what direction to go into. They need a resource, anything like that. And they'll be able to help them out with that hotline.
So if a family member or anybody has another family member that they think are being affected with Alzheimer's, they can just call that 800 number.
Exactly. It's 1-800-272-3900.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Dina. You have other people on the committee, I'm sure, many other people working on your committee doing various things.
We do.
Some of the things they're responsible for, other than what we've talked about.
Logistics for the event. There are people on there that are reaching out to past teams to encourage them to sign up again. We have folks that are recruiting new teams for the walk this year, recruiting new walkers.
Have any idea the number you anticipate this year? Hard to tell, I guess.
It's difficult to tell. I feel like that COVID sort of skews the numbers, and so it's hard to say, but we would love to have a lot. The registration is free. That's the great thing, is that people can sign up and there's no charge to sign up. Of course, we do encourage people to raise money, but the event is actually free.
For anybody raising money or wanting to contribute money, is there an address they should need to mail it to?
Well, they can go online. We have a walk website. For Rutherford County, it is, you can start out by just going to alz.org and clicking on walk and putting your zip code in. And then it'll pull up your local walk. And right there on the page, there's a bright yellow button that says register, where you can register your walk team, or there's a white button that says donate. And from there, you can make your donation. And they do take credit, debit, PayPal, all of
And
that.
the donations, of course, are tax-free, right?
Yes.
Tax
Yes. When you
exempt.
make that donation on the website, the Alzheimer's Association will mail a letter in about 6 to 8 weeks.
I know Stonesboro
for-
Manor is very active in this every year as well. Mike, again, there works with the committee.
Yes,
Mike
Mike
is
is on our
amazing.
committee. Mike is an original member of the Rutherford County Walk. He was there in the beginning year. He is our #1 fundraiser as an individual in Rutherford County. So I think there are a lot of people that want to be Mike Gam when they grow up as far as fundraising goes. He's a great guy. So-
Good statement. Yeah, I usually make my contribution through Mike in some sort of manner.
Mhm.
Mike is also one of the top 100 fundraisers for the Walk to End Alzheimer's in the United States.
Oh, is that right? Wonderful.
He is.
Wonderful. He's very dedicated.
There's a reason
He
why he's
is.
called the Money Man.
Chris, are we bringing thoughts to your mind that you'd like to add to our discussion?
Well, I just, I think, the Alzheimer's Association has done a very good job as far as trying to educate all of us about the disease and the different, resources that you have at your disposal. And of course, when it comes to the very meaningful fundraising opportunities that they provide to you, of course, this walk is wonderful. It's just a great event. I mean, I get excited just talking about it, but also, as Dina referred to earlier, we're getting hip. We have a great app that you can get on the Apple App Store or wherever your Android app store. That is a very clever app that can help you keep track of your fundraising. It can help you keep track of how far you're walking on the walk day, and it does all kinds of neat stuff. And also it provides education about Alzheimer's there too. So it's a nice little in your pocket resource that is a very meaningful resource, not only for fundraising, but also education too. So, hats off to the Alzheimer's Association. I mean, it's a dreadful disease and disability, and we're just so glad that, we can participate in helping find the cure. And, that's the eyes are on the prize with the association as far as, achieving that agenda. And just like Dina and Emily are both saying, I'm not a clinician. I don't know about all the things medically that's going on, but I know that the ball is moving forward, and that's exciting. But we still have a journey, but we're going in the right direction and making progress, which is very exciting.
Before we go, let's remind everybody about the walk, the date, the time, the place. Dina, whoever.
Sure. The walk will be November 6th at Gateway Island in Murfreesboro. And our opening ceremony will begin at 8:30 a.m. People can either walk in person or, like Chris mentioned, use the app and walk virtually in their own neighborhood, or, meet friends, a couple of friends, and maybe walk around their own area that way. Trust Point Hospital is our presenting sponsor for the Walk to End Alzheimer's this year. And we do want to say a humongous thank you to them for their tremendous support of the walk and everything that the Alzheimer's Association is trying to do to support families locally in this community. They've just been a huge help.
Folks, thank you very much. And thank you for the wonderful work you're doing in the work to end Alzheimer's. Congratulations on another successful year, and we wish you well for your annual event. We thank Chris West, Emily Pegg, and Dina O'Neill for being with us and remind you to be able to participate in the Walk to End Alzheimer's.